Dow and the S&P hitting record highs.
Yep.
Everybody seems to be shaking off the headline risk, even though we see more headlines, whether it's Greenland or even just some questions about China, Taiwan, Russia, and Ukraine. What do you make of that?
Yeah, great start to the year. Broadening of the market. We're seeing more participants to the upside. This is very bullish. The one laggard has been technology, especially on the software side. But we are now seeing, and I'll just go right to my word of the day with this, clear lines of demarcation from a technical point of view the first 3 days of the year. We have 3 sectors in particularly that really are sticking out. 2 that have broken out and 1 that looked like it was going to break out and then faked out, and that was energy. Watch the XLE. We thought Monday when Exxon was spiking, Chevron was spiking, Valero, they all had monumental opens and then they pulled back. They got to key levels of resistance, couldn't break through. So that was the fake out. XLE, we have to see price confirmation before I'm jumping in on that sector, even though everyone's talking about it. But what they're not talking about? Materials. Material sector, the XLB, broke out of a nice year base, and it has room to run. You know, they've been helped a lot by the silver and the gold, but you look at some of the packaging stocks in that sector, they're starting to pick up some steam. And then you talked about them earlier on the show, the ITA, the defense sector. Instead of going for one particular defense stock, you know, we have seen a major breakout. So anything above 46 in the XLB and 40 and 215 in the ITA, to me, a clear line of demarcation for anyone looking for a good risk-reward entry point. I still think it's time to get into these sectors, and that's what I like when I look at setups going into this year.
Okay, to your point, materials actually the best performing sector yesterday. I want to talk to you about transports as well. And you and I have talked about the transportation sector. You gave us a pick in that sector. As we see this broadening out of the market, the equal weight also hitting a record high yesterday, it seems to also be benefiting transportation stocks.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm cutting you off, but how are you viewing transport stocks? Right now, they're trading pretty close to their COVID highs from back in November of 2021. Do you think this is basically investors trying to front run the idea that we're going to see more onshoring, maybe even more oil production here in the U.S., that oil has to be moved and things like that? Is there some other catalyst that you're seeing?
No, I think cheap oil is one of the major catalysts. You look at the airlines all breaking out to new highs. People still had been traveling. Those numbers were great. And now we're seeing it in the shippers. FedEx, watch FedEx. 300 is such a key level in this stock. It finally broke above it. Let's see if it can stay there and continue to move. But the setup over the long term, setup for this year, is phenomenal. And then the coattail rider, a stock that we talked about one of the last times I was here, UPS. The stock has done phenomenal since the last quarter, continues to make relatively new highs over the last 3 months. Okay. Has a lot to reverse.
We're almost out of time. Your picks, Regions Financial. Give us the elevator pitch on this one.
Yeah, real quick. RF, Birmingham, Alabama. Southeast region, one of the biggest, fastest growing regions. Technically, this broke out short-term, long-term base. A lot of room to run. They report earnings next week, and the stock has been doing well after earnings. That's a sector that's been on fire to start the year. I think it continues going into earnings next week.